Okay, your music seems deeply inspired by figures like Meher Baba, yes. How do this teaching influence the structure of the song?
The structure of the songs, it comes through the filter of the person that the song is sent to. And I'll give you an example, because again, I mentioned before that I don't think that we are the creators, we're the receivers. I had an interesting lesson in this back in 1974, I think it was, 74 or 73. I was talking to a friend of mine on the telephone, a psychologist friend of mine who was getting interested in Baba and in specifically the Sufi group. By the way, I'm involved in a Sufi group that is not a Muslim. Sufism, it doesn't really belong to a religion. And there is, Meher Baba established a school of Sufism that he wrote the charter for.
Yes, it's like you follow not only Meher Baba, but also Hafiz and Rumi.
No, I follow, it's 100% Meher Baba, and I have a teacher who's an illumined teacher. So they're qualified. Meher Baba specified what such a teacher, for Sufism Reoriented it's called, he did a charter that explains what that teacher has to be a teacher. Right. And it's what level of consciousness. But in any case, the story that I'm going to share is, I was on the phone talking to a friend of mine, and he was a psychologist, very smart, wonderful guy, but there were a lot of things that are confusing to him about, if this is so great, this path, how come so many of the people I meet around it are such a bunch of buttheads? You know, it's very easy if there's a little stream that's coming off the top of a mountain, just beginning to come down, it has a little waterfall there. That water is very clean and pure. You can go and drink from it, sit, be with it, admire how clean and pure it seems. But the goal of a stream is not to just eternally be trickling on a mountaintop. I said the goal of a stream is to reach the ocean.
Yes.
And what happens when that stream starts making its way further and further and further? If it's successful, then you get the Mississippi River, then you get the Amazon, then you get, and I describe these mighty rivers that reach the ocean. And I said, and they're muddy. Don't drink that water. They are digging deep and pulling the mud up. And I said, I think the fact is that many people who are really committed to a spiritual path are very often digging up such deep muck from their past, from their being, that they might not be that pleasant in the process. I said, you as a psychologist should understand this a little bit more. Might work on another level. But the thing is, while I was talking to him, getting what I writing notes on the side, they just started coming. Love is a weaver of wonders indeed, and life is the wonder that love does weave. O wondrous weaver, weave me a life. And then it went on and on, you know, relations woven into life after life, and so on. I just started writing these notes. Oh yeah, I understand, Rick. Yeah, okay, yeah, and you know. And then I hung up and I grabbed my guitar, and love is a weaver of wonders indeed. I wrote this song. A few months later, there's a hit song on the radio, Dream Weaver. And I laughed because the tune was great. The playing musicianship was great. The ideas in it to me were like ABC kindergarten, you know, Dream Weaver, you know. I don't know if you know that song. You're too young to know it. But it was a real good song, real big hook. And however, the songs are about, you know, take me on a trip of an astral plane. Like that's some big deal. The astral plane is like compared to spirit, you know, to explore the astral is such a small goal. It's like, would you like to go into outer space, or do you want to go up to the top of the hill here? That's not a good analogy. It's just a very small goal, big deal. So I laughed when that song came out, but I also realized that's interesting. The idea of a tapestry of weaving that is about our life wasn't just for me. I realized This is an image that went down from the source of where these things come from, which I do have an opinion or understanding what that is, but that's, it doesn't matter how that works, you know, from which plane do the divas send work with our artists and so on. But the idea was that a certain thing is going to manifest at a certain time, and you'll see it manifest all over the world with different songs. Same idea, just it was a time for that to happen. At that same time, I had painted an illustration of a small child. Oh no, this was a little bit later. I painted an illustration of a small radiant child walking on the desert at sunset. And as the child was walking along, wherever it had already stepped, the desert was turning into lush lawn, grass. So the desert ahead and footsteps behind was this lawn. And he was walking with a lion, a beautiful lion. And the lion I painted, I found in a book, a famous photographs, Time Life book. And I painted this beautiful lion. A friend of mine, there is an interesting thing here. She was married to the doctor that I mentioned,
okay,
Wonder Weaver. And she wanted to write children's books. And she saw the painting and she said, what is it? What's your story with this? She said, would you mind if I write a story to this and submit it to see if I can have it published? No, go ahead. She wrote the story and, you know, it didn't get published. 6 months later, I see a children's book, and it has a picture of a small child playing with the lion. I open it. Inside, the same, he had used the same photograph because it's a famous photograph of a lion to illustrate this child, this divine child playing with the lion in the desert. So clearly, I didn't invent that picture. I received it, that image, that idea. Same with the song. This all comes back to the question that you might have of how do you choose to do something? You don't. You're just available, and whatever that flow that is going to be born with you or without you, you simply have to be willing, saying, "I'm willing to receive it." And when it comes through you, how you respond to it, because your question was, how do you choose which way you're going to shape it? Well, I don't choose. I've already been designed. I was designed by the things I've seen, the things I sang. So I'm not. I heard this question put to Paul McCartney, and actually Paul McCartney is the one I'm thinking of. When they were talking to him about the style of songs, and he and John Lennon both acknowledged that a lot of the types of tunes that they played had a foundation of having in their family. For Paul McCartney, having sung all these songs with his family that were of an earlier time. So when he writes a song like da 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 dee dum dee da da dum da dee da da dum, when I'm 64. Da 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 dee da 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 dee da da dum. That goes back to all the music he heard as a young man, you know. And I grew up with one of the weirder amongst of people that I know in the United States, one of the weirder palettes, in that I might hear my mother listening to opera on an old gramophone.
Mm-hmm.
On the radio, I might hear Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última, you know, that kind of a song. American kids didn't grow up with that. Latin people did. So I grew up with Latin tunes in there, hearing it a lot as a kid. They're in there. They're in the machinery, in the program. The little computer that is me has different colors in it. And why they come up the way they do, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't choose it. They simply happen. So in this set of songs I told you I'm working on that are nine songs that are all 2 to 4 minutes long. They're Baba tunes. A couple of them, one of them in particular, really sounds like a 1950s melody from Argentina. Prefiero cantar en español. I prefer singing in Spanish. It's the sounds of it are, it's easier to hit a pitch. They have a different feeling. I love singing in Spanish, but I sing primarily in English because I can't write in Spanish. Although I have one CD that's all in Spanish, and I have many songs that have one or two songs in Spanish on them. I don't really write in Spanish because I left my school in Mexico too young to have the skill that I have. I find it much easier to write in English. And also they have English they can all describe different things. The Spanish language has a poetic beauty that is so delicious, just delicious. And it has sounds that are delicious to sing, but I have to sing primarily in English to say the things I have to say. And so I don't choose before I write something. They seem to just come in the form, it's just natural. One of the questions I think you wanted me to talk about was, how do I write a song? There's so many different ways. Sometimes I do begin, I'm just playing guitar just for fun. And that's a nice little tune. Okay. What's this tune about? Oh, that's how it feels. Or I might be in a mood and the tune suits the mood. I have songs, I've done everything from hip hop. I have things that are danced by people with hip hop rhythms. I have since I'm not a professional musician, I don't have a sound I'm trying to sell. I don't care. I'm happy. Where's it coming from? Bring it on. It's all fun. And so if somebody were to study, I've done 50 CDs of music now. If somebody were to look at it, they think this guy's schizophrenic. No, he just doesn't have a story to sell. This is not my sound that I'm selling, you know? The subject is what's important. So I might have a mood and I just play guitar to just feel it, or an auto harp, or I might be whistling it. And I go, ooh. One song I just did was just walking along doing this. And it turned into a Baba round, a Baba chant, just with a finger snap. How and why, where, I don't know. Other songs, I might start writing something that the idea is like the song about the Buddha's in the backseat. I don't have a great tune for that, but the idea just makes me laugh, and I really want to write it. Yes. So that one will be harder to write because it's not coming from the deepest part of me, but I'll still write it. I have a bunch of songs that are like that are just things I'm thinking about like that. Then there are other things that are.
What about, I mean, they can be like a mantras or not, like for you, like sometimes?
Well, the mantras are usually Meher Baba's name. Meher Baba's name is the mantra. In my belief, the mantra of the current avatar, the name, is always the most powerful sound in the universe at the time.
Yeah, but your songs sometimes become like the same form like a mantras, or not? You don't.
The songs usually are. They usually have a more traditional format, A B C, meaning chorus, verse, you know, that type of thing. There's usually patterns like that don't repeat like a mantra, the same idea over and over. I have had some songs that have sections that will go off for a minute or two sometimes, and where a part of it is sung as a mantra. That's not common, but I have done some like that. Then another thing, I think you asked about improvisation.
Yes, yes.
And when I create the songs, when I present them, if I'm playing with a live group, then you might repeat parts of things and sing them over and over and over and over, depending on who I'm playing with and who the group is and what the feel is. But in the creative process, usually I'm writing and just sitting with a guitar or an auto harp or something and creating melody at the same time that I'm thinking of words, you know, kind of together. But sometimes, like I was recording a song in the studio. Now, nowadays I record mostly right here, right behind me. I use this little thing right here. That's my recording studio.
Oh, okay. So
it's called it's 8 tracks.
Okay.
And the secret is I have a microphone that was given to me by my teacher, which is an extremely good microphone.
All right.
And I'll record guitar parts, voice, flute, harmonica, bells, whistles, whatever I've got in here, mouth harp, penny whistles, all right here. And I send it to a guy that I've worked with for 26 years, and I'll say, add a bass to this. I might send him a voice memo of what I want on it, and then he does it. Because he lives 2 hours away from me now. Every now and then when I can, I go up to see him. And then we sit and really work together and edit a lot. But I record most everything here. Years ago, he had a studio a little bit over an hour away from me in a city called San Rafael. And after work, I would go to the studio and record until midnight and then come home, go back to work, leave work at 6, record to midnight. I can't do that now. I'm too old. It was exhausting. I wasn't sleeping. But at that time, I was in his studio one day, and there was a line that I couldn't quite sing. So I asked him to loop a section. Looping it means selecting a piece and playing it over and over and over. And I would sing against it, trying to get it. And I finally sang it correctly, because even though I composed it, I had trouble singing it. The same thing happens when I play guitar. I have chords that I come up with that I can barely put my hands on to play, but I can hear that that's what it's supposed to be. And I have to have him play it better, the good version. I'll show him what the chord is. And he'll say, how do you even know this chord? Because I don't read music. And I have to tell him, I don't know. I just hear it. I can hear it I can hear that voicing, and it has to be that voicing. So in any case, he played that loop over and over and over and over. And I recorded that part. And then after I finished that, I said, did you save that loop? Can you do I have that available to me? He said, yeah, why? Take my voice out of it and copy that loop and play it for 5 minutes or more. He said, okay, what are you going to do? I said, just record whatever I do. What it is at that time, I was going, again, there are periods where the stress is, I'm a father, a grandfather, I have family. You go through things with everybody, whether it's work, family, etc., that often is challenging. This is one of those periods where I thought I would just burst because it was so much to endure. And I said, just play it. I need to pray with it. He said, what do you mean? I said, just play it, John. And he played it. And I just started singing this, help me live your love. Help me be your love. Help me do this. Help me this. And I just extemporized a prayer. And that prayer became, I think, like a 10-minute song that developed out of that moment of just improvisation. So I've done songs like that I just sang extemporaneously. On the other hand, I have now had 4 teachers. They passed away. My first teacher passed away after I was with her for 10 years. My next teacher I was with him for 20 years until he passed away. My third teacher, longer than that, and now my current teacher, MISCHA. my third teacher, when she was one of the students of the second one at that time, was clearly a very different type of being from most people. I'll go back to Meher Baba's quote, to penetrate into the essence of all being and significance, and to release the fragrance of that inner attainment. When you meet someone like her, or any of my teachers, that fragrance is exuded in their every action, in their every moment. If you're connected to them, you're drawn by, it's literally like a flower, like a rose draws its a creature to it with its fragrance, you know? That fragrance exudes from them. That teacher, she was an amazing writer, as was the teacher before her. And she wrote a poem that she gave me very early on that was a huge, vast, wonderful, wonderful poem. And I looked at this and I thought, this would be just, she had hopes I could sing it. Well, there was no way to sing it. And I just would read it. I read it for years. And and then I tried playing guitar and singing to it. Nothing came. And then one day, all of a sudden, I had an insight. And I took it and I cut up lines and I rearranged things and I wrote some rhymes and changed it. I now felt I had enough mastery of the idea that I could do that. And I wrote a song. So this song took me 4.5 years to write. Wow. Some come in a minute, some can come after a long time like that. And then I presented it to her and asked her if it was okay what I had done with that. It was. She loved it. It worked. And the ideas were all there. So the creative process, songs can start in so many different ways. It can also be a quote that I recently read, a quote from Inayat Khan. Inayat Khan, he was expressing how I asked you for strength, and you gave me this torture of an experience that built strength. I asked you for this, and you gave me this that taught me how to love, but it was painful, you know? I asked for this, you never give me what I want, but you always give me what you need. And I wrote, rather, it's not his straight words, but turning it into rhymes, into one line becomes 4 lines of song, because I can say the whole idea. And it ends with, so a song like that I can be stirred to write something. So all the things that I've read, a line from Ramakrishna turns into a full song. I did one CD that is all based on the poetry of Rumi. And for that CD, I have a friend who's a member of our group who's Persian. And he's a wonderful guy. And I said, these are the poems that interest me. Can we go back to the original language it was written in, and you talk to me about it? And so I sat with him and took notes, and he explained how the problem with trying to translate a quatrain from Rumi, 4 lines in that poetry, is that you can have a line that means 2 or 3 different things. And in trying to translate it into English, you only get one meaning. Mm-hmm. And so he had a poem that said, if we are a mystery, go away. If we are a mystery to you, then go away. Don't come here. That's the traditional translation of it. But he said to me, here's the problem. This word also means at the same time, if we are a mystery, go away. But if you get it, come here. And then as he went on in the poem, so I turned the 4 lines into 6 different verses that covered all the different meanings that he explained were in that original language. but all of it based on Rumi. And at the end, on many of them, I used him reading the original Farsi. So for those people who are purists who would be upset, they would hear that I'm honoring the original Rumi, but I'm also singing it as a song that makes sense. Likewise, Rumi might have a line that says, if you're praying to yourself at your own altar, has an alternate meaning, which is if you're doing battle with your lower self on the battlefield and want to vanquish. So getting the hidden meanings, the double meanings, the triple meanings, writing a song allows you to do that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. You are wonderful and really generous in your answers. And but I think we are running out of time. But I would like to ask you just very practical questions. That, for example, where our friends can find you. And the other one, if you could summarize the purpose of your work and your channel in a single sentence, if that is possible.
Okay.
No.
So my goal is to give my music away on my YouTube channel, which is MISCHAMUSE on YouTube, MISCHA Muse. And I'll tell you a little bit about that name, by the way, that might be fun. When I was a kid in Mexico, singing, the main little cafe I would sing in before I went to the nightclubs was a cafe called Las Musas. And this is where all the artists, bohemians, everybody came to Las Musas.
Right.
And that's where I met John Cage and all these people. And that's where I met my wife. That's where I met this very special man who connected me with my current life as a Sufi. Everything important to me started right there in that little cafe called Las Musas, the Muses. The Muses are the source of the music. Misha is amused by his life experience, so it's Misha Muse, and that's my YouTube channel. So that name covers a lot of things for me. So they can go on Misha Muse, and they'll I think I've got like 250 videos there of different songs. They can hear every kind of music. I even have one playlist on there that is only in Spanish. And I always laugh because I think, I'm not as nice as the songs I write. You might not like me. And then I'll get in the way of what you're experiencing with God directly through the song. So I always tell them, we're already meeting in the heart through this music. But the truth is, you can send a message on Misha Muse. And one of the things that I did was, my favorite songwriter is Leonard Cohen. And I remembered that I had read a biography, and at one point Leonard Cohen, who had for decades been a student of a Zen master, when he left that master, he started going to India to study with a master there, a Hindu master. And I thought, I wonder who it was that he was studying with. So I looked this up. And it turned out to be that he was studying with a man named Balsikar, who was the descendant of Nisargadatta, who I believe was a perfect master.
Right.
And Nisargadatta came from the line of Ramana Maharshi. And so I saw that there was an interview, a transcription of a conversation between Leonard Cohen and Balsikar, and I loved it. Because I love Leonard Cohen. And it said, this is part of a transcription. There's more of this available. And then there were some beautiful drawings there that I loved of Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta, Leonard Cohen, Balsikar. I said, these are great drawings. Who did these? Oh, there's this woman. She's got her email, her name. And she was the one who did the transcription. Okay. Oh, and she was the editor of the Ramana Maharshi Journal. She sounds interesting. Dear Jane, her name's Jane. My name is MISCHA Rutenberg, and I love the transcription. Could I see the rest of that transcription? And by the way, I love your art. It's beautiful. She writes back, who are you? You know, what are you? There's something, a hit, a feeling. We've become best friends. She started hearing my music. All of a sudden started sending me unbelievable drawings of Meher Baba. In that time, she's now done over 1,200 drawings and paintings of Meher Baba that are beautiful. And she told me, once I started listening to the music, I fell into the ocean of his being and recognized who he was. So that happened through a chance meeting online. And if someone wants to write to me, they can send a message on Misha Muse. And if they want to hear back from me, they can put their email on there. And I'll probably respond personally. But in general, I don't put it out because I could get a lot of, life is.
Okay, thank you very much. I love it. It's wonderful. I see you have a lot of talent. I appreciate your time and words for everybody. I'm really grateful.
Oh, I'm grateful. Thank you for your interest. Gracias por todo y aprecio que me contactaste y
gracias.
Ojalá podemos hablar otra vez dentro un poco.
Sí, gracias. Y mi amigo también.
Hola. Buen amigo.
Be the point with you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.